Denisah. Girl.
The face is facing.
Dang, Denisah. Sis.
This looks very dramatic, but brace yourself.
The people that you look up to, right? The people that you go to when you have no one else to go to. Y'all know what I'm referring to. Give them grace, because they're not always going to get it right. What's up, spirit feeders? I am Denisah Shonte, and welcome back to another video. This will be, what am I going to categorize this as? Another Christian girl real and raw, right? Not a vlog today, just something that's really been on my spirit. Like, I was having Bible study and I was talking with God, and I was like, you know what? Well, I should share this. And I really want y'all to hop in the comments and let me know. Let me know what you think. Let's have an actual conversation about it. This is literally coming straight out of Samuel, the first book of Samuel. And if you're not familiar, it opens with the story of Hannah, who is married to this man. She is his favorite wife, and that's not me, me saying that. That's what the word says. He loved her more than his other wife. However, she's in a situation where this other wife has had several children with her husband, and she's been barren, which means she hasn't been able to produce any children for their family. And she is literally so broken, so upset. She's hurting. It's almost like she's not even grieving, but she's in such distress that she goes to the altar and she's praying. And she's praying in such a way where the word says that her lips are moving, but she's not saying anything, right? She's like rocking, almost like you're mourning, right? Like you're literally just praying to God, begging God, at this point. And I'm going to put the scripture on the screen, but 1 Samuel chapter 1 at verse 11, it says that she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thy handmaid, but will give unto thine handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall be no razor come upon his head. Meaning she's going to honor him. And I believe at the time, it's either priests or prophets, they didn't shave their head as if honor to the Lord. So you got to think, what I left out earlier is that this woman is also taunting her, right? Saying like, oh yeah, you're his favorite wife, but you don't have any kids. I believe at the time the woman has 6 or 7 kids. So imagine, her situation where she's not able to provide any for her husband. What really got me is the priest Eli was, kind of misinterpreted her pain and misinterpreted her stance and her situation, and because of how she was praying and she wasn't uttering any words, right? Like audibly, her lips were moving, but she wasn't uttering any words aloud. He mistook her distress for drunkenness. Stay with me, because it did annoy me, and I already talked to God about it, because the Bible be annoying me. I don't know about y'all, but I'd be like, what are we doing? So he mistook her he mistook her depression and her being in distraught as drunkenness. And then she goes on to explain to him, like, no, please don't mistake that. That is not what this is. This is me being in distress and praying unto the Lord, because I am barren. I am without child. You got to read the full story. I ain't gonna read it to you because I want you to read it. I do want you to read it. However, he then proceeds to bless her and lets her know that she will have a child. And later on, she does conceive, and this does turn out to, which we know to be the prophet Samuel. But a lot of people don't talk about chapter 2, right? The very next chapter, where it goes on to talk about Eli's sons and how his own sons were thieves, and how they were not honorable men, and how they did not honor the Lord, right? And because of this, later on when you read the chapter, God basically wipes out Eli's entire bloodline, and he kills those said sons. However, this woman, Hannah, literally births, okay, Eli's blessing. You have Eli in a situation where he isn't honorable. He's a priest, man of God, who literally mistook her pain right? And said she was drunk. However, the whole time she's carrying his blessing. She's carrying his legacy. Not his legacy in the flesh, meaning they have the same bloodline, but his legacy in the sense that that is who he mentored up. That is the father-son almost relationship that he had with Samuel. And we know Samuel was a great prophet. We know Samuel was a great man of God. And he was trained up under Eli. However, Eli's own flesh and blood were not honorable unto the Lord and were completely wiped out. And here you are mistaking your blessing because it doesn't look like what you think it looks like. Hello, here you are mistaking a situation because you haven't taken the time to properly discern what you're seeing and what you're observing. You're looking at it as face value when really you should take God into the spirit to say, okay, God, what's happening here? Or either just taking the time to observe a little bit more before you spoke. So I don't know who this is for, but I want you to watch what you say. And I want you to watch and to observe and to discern the situation first before you curse what God will use to bless you, simply because it does not look like what you think it should look like. Because it doesn't look like what you think it should look like. And if you go on to read, literally, I'm gonna say, let me go down. I should have prepared. I should have better prepared before I hit record, but it is what it is. I'm not editing this part out either. Here we are. 1 Samuel chapter 2. We're gonna start at verse 22. So 222. Look at that. Look at the Lord. It says, now Eli was very old and had heard all that his sons did unto all Israel, and how they lay with, the women that they assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Meaning y'all were sleeping with women. All right, I hear you, Lord. I'm like, okay. Verse 23 says, and he said unto them, why do ye such things? For I hear of the evil dealings of from all the people. Nay, my sons, it is no good report that I hear you make the Lord's people to transgress, meaning you're literally causing God's people to sin. If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if a man sin against the Lord, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding, that they hearken unto the voice of their father, because the Lord would slay them. Meaning, like, how can I even intercede for you? Because you know better. You are literally causing God's people to sin. This is what Eli is having to say to his sons, right? This is what he's having to say to his sons. And so he's left in a situation where he's a priest. He's literally a priest. And we know the story. It happens all the time. You know, this is nothing new. However, this is the Old Testament. This ain't no grace-based teaching. They were straight under the law. Okay, so now let's head to chapter 3 real quick, y'all. Chapter 3, and we're actually going to start at verse 10. Yeah, verse 10. I'm gonna put the scripture up. But I want you to read the whole story, okay? And verse 10 says, and the Lord came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, speak, for thou servant heareth. And the Lord said to Samuel, behold, I will do a thing in Israel, which both the ears of everyone that heareth it shall tingle. And that day I will perform against Eli all the things I have spoken concerning his house when I begin. I will also make an end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. And therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever. Meaning you can't even sacrifice to get rid of whatever they did. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, you couldn't even offer the Lord a sacrifice. He said he done. He wiped his hands. He's done. Right? And Samuel lay until the morning and opened the doors of the house of the Lord, and Samuel feared to sue Eli the vision. Then Eli called Samuel and said, Samuel, my son. And he answered, here I am. And he said, what is the thing that the Lord has said unto thee? I pray thee, hide it not from me. God do so to thee, And more so also, if thou hide anything from me of all the things that he said unto thee. Meaning Samuel is literally at the point in his life where he's like, okay, Samuel, tell me what the Lord is saying to you now. How about that? How about the thing that the woman that birthed, and he said son, he literally calls Eli son. Excuse me, Eli literally calls Samuel son. Right? But that just goes to show you, imagine how he not corrected and misinterpreted Hannah's mourning and her depression and her being distraught for drunkenness. I say all that to say also, the second half of this is to give your leaders grace, right? Your leaders will not always get it right. Your leaders in your church, your leaders on your job, your leaders in your personal life, whether that's a mentor-mentee relationship, whatever that looks like, the people that you look up to, right? The people that you go to when you have no one else to go to. Y'all know what I'm referring to. Give them grace, because they're not always going to get it right initially. But then we see where Eli corrected himself and then blessed her and then asked the Lord to open her womb. So I say all that to say, sometimes we hear all these stories about church hurt and how people are in the church and it doesn't matter what position the person is. I'm here to let you know they have an issue. We all have issues, and at times they may mishandle or mislead, and even if it's mislead, I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm saying to extend grace, because they could still be attached to your blessing or your next level, or you could be attached to theirs. And just imagine, had Eli not, realized that he was wrong, and just say Samuel never came into the picture. Thank God he did. But I'm saying, just imagine, that changes the whole trajectory of the whole Bible. That one scenario, right? That one scenario, because you go on and you see Samuel and you see Saul and you see David. The story just continues and continues and continues. But that one situation, and we always look at, or not always, but I know it's popular to talk about Hannah and how she, even later after Samuel, she had, I believe, another 6 children or so, 5 or 6 more kids. But either way, everybody's not gonna get it right. Everybody's not gonna get it right. Everyone's not going to get it right, including your man or woman of God, including your friends, including your family, including the people that you know that are saved, including your friends on this Christian walk, in this Christian life. Everyone's not going to get it right. And this is just a perfect example of that. So I hope it makes sense. I'm going to try to edit it and figure out a way to make, let's see, let the Lord do whatever he does. But until the next time, I love you. Continue to like and subscribe. We're still at 0 subscribers, which is completely fine, because I'm all for God doing a new thing and it being fresh and it being something we build together, God and I, along with you all. So have a blessed week, and I will see you on the next video.